season will be the most fun and unpredictable to watch since 2017. Hopefully with fewer biblical rainstorms than that year. I've sat through enough for a while.
Until like 2013 or 12, whenever the first weather delay at Michigan State was that I was around, maybe it was 2012, it seems like there have been 5 or 6 weather delays, and there were a couple in a year over a 5-year span. And I think I went 35 years of my life almost, maybe not quite, 32 years, without a single one. All of a sudden it was like lightning during games and weather delays. Yeah, I hope.
Global warming.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
I'm with you on the construction sites, though. I also believe that it is the responsibility of people working construction and the planning to let you know in time before you make decisions when it's a likely you might take a different route. Like, there needs to be more communication on the side of the
Are we just going to drive in construction for the rest of our lives? I feel like until, we're 80-some years old, we're just going to constantly be driving in construction zones, no matter where you go.
I remember when Kalamazoo wanted to widen 94 there, and there was a 10-year project. I'm like, I would say no, because
you protest.
No, but the average span of somebody living in Kalamazoo has got to be less than 10 years. And if you're going to make the whole time somebody's there shitty to get to a decent road, like, no. The
Kalamazoo is a jumping step.
The length of time you get to it takes to do something construction wise can't be more than like a year and a half. We have to be able to. I mean, it can't be like 1/5 of your lifespan. Otherwise, it's just not fucking worth it. Do something different. I'd rather have bumpy roads and no construction than construction constantly and roads that still need to be repaired every 5 years.
Fix these damn roads, am I right?
Yeah.
Professor up next. Number 1, the Tigers should buy out Miggy in the offseason, even if $75 million. He can't be in the middle of the lineup next year if they hope to compete. Bonilla plan? Yeah, just pay him till he's 90. 2, A.J. Hinch should be manager of the year, but Major League Baseball would nix it. 2, the Lions will have the number 1 draft pick in the 2022 draft.
So I do think, to number 1's point, the Bonilla plan may help Miggy, because if he perhaps if he was making a lot less per year, his alimony would go down a little bit, and that would be good for him. And then it would also help with some financial planning. If he was paid till he was 90 rather than a lot more over the next few years, it would help him not be able to spend it all. So it may be the healthiest thing for him. I don't think what's going to be interesting is he's going to get to 500. He's probably, I need to look, but probably going to get to 3,000 hits this year if he keeps playing as much as he is. And once he's hit those milestones, he's kind of done that. But he's also played well enough that you're paying him anyway. It's not like Victor Martinez, where if they were competitive, like Victor Martinez should have been cut. I don't care if you're paying $19 million. Pay him the money to hit if he's just going to ground into a double play every time. Cabrera, as long as he is playing at least an average or above average level, you might as well have him. You're paying him anyway. So to me, I think what's happened this year with Cabrera, if he comes back next year, the beauty is starting next year, there's no pressure to keep him because people want to see other things. He's got to be part of winning. He will reach the milestones. But if he plays the way he did this year, next year, I still think he's probably worth having in your lineup. He's probably somebody you sit down and pinch run for a lot more often. And because
it's not like he's from what I hear, a bad locker room guy.
I know he's not. I know.
I think he's okay with knowing what his role is going to be with the Tigers organization in the future. So.
Yeah, and he'll mostly DH. And
and people still like going out and seeing Miggy.
Yeah. If you get Miggy and you get Spencer Torkelson, I think that's a pretty good day.
You mean Riley Green.
And Riley Green and Casey Mize. That's a pretty good group to go out and watch for sure. Lions will have the number 1 pick in the 2022 draft, you think?
I don't know if they're the worst team in the NFL. I think they lose 4 games, but I think there's going to be a team
or win 4 games, you mean?
Yeah, win, excuse me.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be another team that probably loses more or only wins less. It is. That was my Yoda.
The Lions will 4 games win. It is.
Is that right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Outside the box. Up next. Number 1. It is great that Brenda Tracy talked to the team. We need more of those lessons for athletes. The whole bit about not wanting to come during the 2018 year, given the leadership, though, comes off as grandstanding, preaching about personal responsibility and being an institutional watchdog aren't perfectly congruous. Congruous.
Superfluous.
It would be prudent for her to separate the two because it Depotentiates. What is that word?
I'm gonna let you do it.
Depotentiates.
Okay,
It is.
the point
Very
is
important message. You say it.
The point is this: that I mean, and I think outside the box here is right. Is that like it is good they brought in Brenda Tracy. I think it's good for a couple reasons. One, I think she is somebody who has a valuable role with college athletes. She's somebody who is very well known and I think gives a great real presentation. And I think for MSU, having her on campus is one more thing in sort of moving past a really dark era. I do think her criticism compounded some unfair criticism of MSU at the time. Now, her criticism was based on a conversation with Izzo, and that was her experience. But I don't know that she or some other people had truly all the information or truly understood. I mean, there were some – I don't think it was quite a fair representation. However, having had many conversations with Tom Izzo and watching him go through what he went through in 2017 or 18, whatever the year, 18, I can understand why he didn't come off all that great talking to her. It's just not his strength. And it would have been better if she would tweet about it and talk about it, and it would have been better if he had reached out to her and said, I didn't really, and they had sort of mended that and maybe had her in previously with Izzo, but it didn't happen. And I do think her criticism piled on to some unfair criticism.
Ryan Schultz up next. Number one, if MSU loses to Northwestern, a 5-7 record is coming. 2, for how faithfully he's promoted it. They really ought to rename the American Stout the Graham Stout by now. Great, by the way. 3, speaking of a timestamp worth saving, brought to you by Midtown Brewing Company. 59:29 from Friday's episode when Yoda Graham states Doug Warren is a man, a beautiful one.
Oh, crap. There are going to be all these... Yeah. Jason, do you think that Bill Beekman, the American Stout at Midtown Brewing Company is absolutely outstanding, and Ryan is right about that. Ryan brings up a point on MSU Northwestern that was brought up by another listener earlier that when in saying we don't know, I think it was G.E. Miller early on that we'll know after the game one what sort of season they're going to be. And I really think the Northwestern game will be telling. It's one of the reasons it's a measuring stick game. Look, Northwestern has had years where they're really good and not as good and they don't win it, but they're often kind of the same team. Somehow they just win 10 games as that team, and sometimes they win 5. And I think physically who they are as a program, there is a benchmark you can figure out about yourself by how you play against Northwestern. And I think Michigan State will. I think that, and I don't like usually the conference game leading off the season, but I kind of like it this year because I think it'll tell us more than we would in a normal year.
Kevin from Rochester Hills with his 3 takes. Number 1, Jared Goff is definitely better than Stafford.
Whoa.
How dare you, Kevin. 2, Lions O-line sucks and run games will not gain 100 yards in any game this year. 3, Graham's Yoda voice is better than Yoda from the movie.
Thank you, Kevin. That's outstanding. I auditioned but didn't get it. Goff better than Stafford. What are the odds that Goff has a better year than Stafford?
1,000 to 1. No, I don't know. It's probably
other than injury, obviously.
Shit. I don't think it's very good.
No,
right?
No, I don't think
Stafford has the better team. You know,
and I think
Goff is going to struggle.
I think the Lions' offensive line could be okay. I mean, obviously you got a rookie at 1 tackle, but I think otherwise, I don't know. I don't know about their depth. I just think that
who's he throwing the ball to though?
That's a good question. I like what's his name, Saint
Pierre.
Pierre, yeah.
St. Brown.
St. Brown. You just give me any name. You just fucking with me. I love it.
Yeah. Superfluous, wasn't it?
St. Cockburn? Yep.
Yeah. Brett. Up next, number 1, nobody told me part of being an adult means you'll develop chronic lower back pain. Welcome to it. 2, the Lions' offensive line looks subpar Friday, concerning to say the least. 3, I've come to find mowing your lawn is one of the most oddly satisfying parts of being a homeowner.
It can be, especially if you just need to get away for a few minutes, like you put a podcast in, you spend an hour on your lawn.
The old ball and chain busting your chops, right?
And
outside and drink a beer.
No, what I mean though is you're being productive. Like you're you feel like you're doing something to contribute. But also, the lawn looks great.
Are you lawn guy, though, if you take, like, pictures of your lawn and post it on Facebook?
I usually don't do that because my lawn doesn't look that good.
Yeah.
Like, because that, if I.
But in your Facebook group of people, your neighborhood one, do people post their lawn?
No. It's not that kind of.
Oh, I'm sorry that you guys have a neighborhood Facebook group, and I would think that would happen.
Yeah.
That's just lunacy.
It's not what happens in the historic West Side neighborhood. By the way, for lower back pain, let me recommend Skyman. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, God, yeah.
It is, because I've had a little bit. And basketball pain in the legs when you overdo it, things like that. Skyman.
Yeah, waking up, Skyman.
Yeah.
Jeff
Doing
Dillon.
the show, Skyman.
Yeah, it's double Skyman. Number one, Jeff Dillon. Number one, kids ruin live fantasy drafts. Okay, this guy wins. Jeff Dillon wins at everything. Two, the new Sea-Doo pontoon looks badass and makes me want to summer in Michigan again. 3, Saban Lee sticks with the Pistons longer than Killian.
These are good. Yeah, no, I've been to some fantasy drafts where the kids can impact it a little bit.
And my dad took me to drafts in the 90s, but he would keep us in line. Like, we got excited when Barry Sanders got drafted, and all the guys just stared at us. And my dad's like, all right, guys, just go over there and be quiet. And that's what we did.
Were you the only kids?
Yeah, me and my buddy.
Okay.
Because I was on I did it with my father in 92.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, no,
Jack Ebling was in that league, by the way.
Was he really?
Yeah.
What a league.
Oh.
What a league.
Yeah.
Saban Lee sticks with the Pistons longer than Killian Hayes. Look, that's not an entirely unreasonable thought because Saban Lee's a guy they like, whether he's just a role player or not. But Killian, the jury's still out a little on Killian. There's things he's got to do offensively if he's going to be the long-term answer there.
All right, question. What would you rather have kids at, though?
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy drafts or a Super Bowl party? You have to pick one. You have to deal with kids for one of them.
Oh,
I've done both. And
where are you going here?
I think I would go Super Bowl.
Yes,
because fantasy draft I have that I've done for 15 years. Their kids just run around, but they all play on the side of the yard. They're fine. They come in once in a while. The Super Bowl, you have to like watch your language and shit.
So you'd rather there at the fantasy?
I would rather they're at the fantasy draft and not at a Super Bowl. I'd rather they weren't anywhere, but you know,
as long as there's a situation there that allows them to do something that where they're not reliant on you. And none of the kids are ever mine, which helps. But you do have to be able to focus in a fantasy draft.
But you share a team with a 7-year-old. It's weird. You and a 7-year-old do a fantasy team together. But you don't have a kid.
That would be my thing, though. Yeah, I just decided to not a 7-year-old. But a Super Bowl party, it is. There's usually lots of things going on. Kids running around. You don't have to focus as much. You know, the game is not as big a deal as the conversation. I think I'm better off a Super Bowl party. I'd rather have them there.
All right. Spartan Johnny up next. Number one, the easiest way to practice Yoda is using the phrase, go you must. For example, go you must, Amani of Bates. Spurned you have the dog Spartans twice. Is up your time here in our hopes and minds.
All right, let me read that and try it. Go you must. Go you must, Amani of Bates. Spurned you have the dog Spartans twice. Is up your time here in our hopes and minds. Okay.
Yeah. The longer they are, the worse they are.
Yeah.
2, more aggressively, Yoda speaking. Go, you must, Bates. Rectum rode right in ours twice. Trust we do not. Best wishes. Not, I think.
Riding right up into my rectum, and it was painful.
3, the force is strong with Piat. Is it Piat?
Yeah.
Piat. James.
Piat.
Piat.
I don't know. That's a great question. Now I don't know.
I'm sorry. Now it's Piat. Sorry,
Yep.
James.
I think it's Piat.
Piat James. Dude deserves an interview on an upcoming Wednesday show.
We'd have to get his name right. But actually,
we could just ask him.
I mean, he did win, and for those who don't realize, and there are going to be some more James Piat ones here, he won the U.S. Amateur, which I think he gets an invite to the Masters and the U.S. Open now. I mean, nobody from Michigan had done it in the 121 years it existed. He had to win. I mean, he had to rally to win. I mean, it's a pretty remarkable achievement, and he's a Michigan State dude who's, got another year on the golf team. When you talk about name, image, and likeness opportunities for a guy like that, even around here, or lessons, who doesn't want to take lessons, and who wouldn't pay a fair bit? I bet a lot of golfers around here would pay a fair bit to have lessons with the guy who won the U.S. Amateur.
I remember when I'd watch sports with my former stepdad, and when the guy took the trophy, he would look over at me and he'd go, that guy's getting laid tonight. I was like, all right. It was kind of weird. Andrew Gauthier up next. Number 1 MSU golfer James Pyatt.
Quite a stepdad.
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
Okay.
You embezzled money as a lawyer. James Pyatt, USAM victory is one of the most historically significant achievements for an MSU athlete. 2, never trust Monica when she says she just wants to grab a bottle of wine real quick at the local winery on the way home from work. 4 hours later, ladies and their wine, am I right, boys? 3, last Friday's show was an all-timer. Yoda Graham may be my new favorite version of Graham. We need a Yoda Graham 3 quick takes column this season. Make it happen, you must. That'd be great if Star Wars sued the shit out of you.
I am sure there are also, and I know based on a couple of the, I'm sure there are some people going, I hope this Yoda bit doesn't last too much longer.
I don't know.
This is not.
I kind of dig it.
I'm going to go find myself another podcast, and this is not really working.
We've been playing Cockburn forever. People haven't got sick of that.
But Andrews, the point about the USAM victory being one of the more historically significant achievements for an MSU athlete is absolutely true. It's just, obviously, men's golf at the collegiate level is not a sport we look at like football or basketball, but he did what nobody in the state's ever done in 121 years. It's an unbelievable achievement, and it's absolutely up there. And I think it captured a lot just based on the number of questions about it here and Twitter feed. I think it is something people watched his comeback from being behind, and I think people have kind of gravitated to him, and I do think for him there are some name and image and likeness opportunities.
Bill McLeod up next. Number 1, James Pyatt was amazing yesterday. What a bonus to earn invitations to the Masters and the Open next year. 2, the MSU shop better stock up on golf gear. It's going to fly off the shelves. And 3, Carol of the Bells, episode 4, was one of the best of the series and a keeper for the holiday. Keeper of the holiday special rotation in December. Of course, the Love Actually haters will object, but the Higgins holiday party overcame any of that. #believe.
Talking about Ted Lasso here, and is that a belch in the middle of that?
Yeah, sorry, okay. I couldn't get it out, man.
Yeah, okay.
Distracting me.
Yeah, Ted Lasso, the Carol of the Bells. It was a great. it was weird to see a Christmas episode and to watch it in early August, but it is something I'll replay. I'll put it right up there with all the Hallmark and Lifetime movies we watched during December. And I.
Are you talking about Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso.
You're putting that episode with all the other Christmas things you watch?
I'm just saying it'll be in the rotation. It's fantastic. I'll watch it again.
It's a Wonderful Life.
And they play to the Love Actually scenes in it, and it's really good. It's really incredibly well done.
Well, there goes me watching it. Wesley Collins up next. Number 1, the accomplishment of James Pyatt will go undervalued by the MSU fan base. Sad. 2, Yoda's funny, but sometimes less is more.
There, our first one.
See, now you're going to listen to the 1 and never do it again. 3, any burger is improved with a pretzel bun. Disagree. It's too much.
Yeah. So is Yoda, probably.
Don't let one person ruin it. He is right. I think the shorter, the better.
Right.
The longer you read, it just sounds like you're panting and you just pick something up off the ground. It's bizarre. John, up next. Number 1, if there is one school that should have Air Jordan clothing for all athletes, it's North Carolina. I was surprised that North Carolina golfer yesterday afternoon was wearing an Adidas shirt and shoes. FYI, they are Air Jordan golf shoes. 2, yesterday was a 3-hour commercial for MSU Golf, assuming he still stays another year. James Pyatt has already earned all of his name, image, and likeness money and more. 3, how deliberate are the players shown in these early practice highlights? After each release, Twitter analyzes each video.
So what John's talking about, the last one, is the MSU football scrimmage or practice. MSU puts a really well packaged video out that's sometimes like a minute long with highlights from the practice or scrimmage. And there's no question they're very aware of what's in them. And so I just know that. I know they're paying attention. And so it is deliberate what they allow to get there. But because it's deliberate, it also leads me to believe sometimes it's more meaningful, right? If you're taking any old video, a minute of highlights from a day's practice or a scrimmage, and without really any care of what it represents, then it means nothing. It could just be this random time the third team was playing against the third team defense, and some receiver who will never play made a nice catch and whatever. But when they choose to put it there, to me, it has some value. Now, does everybody overanalyze it? Yes. Is it, it absolutely hard to read and know exactly what it is. I just think there is something absolutely to it. And it'll be interesting. They've got an open practice coming up, and so we'll see what they actually show and if we can discern more from that.
Fancy with these three. Number one, will the Lions be good? No. But will they play exciting football? Also, no. 2, NASCAR is just brutal this year. 3, ESPN went downhill for me with the creation of the sports-specific channels. If I want NFL coverage, I'll watch the NFL Network and so on.
I hadn't thought of it like that. The Golf Channel, NFL Network.
Yeah, but it
NBA
depends
TV.
on what talking heads that you prefer over
It's
others.
really, yeah,
right?
to
the
me,
NFL, to be honest with you, the NFL, some of their shows are kind of, not that
NFL
ESPN's
Network
are
talking
great.
about. Yeah, no, I'm with you. No, to me, it really is about the talent and the analyst. And when I like them, like I've always liked the Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth team on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
And like so,
but that's because we love Al Michaels.
But what I mean is that it doesn't matter what network he's on. I like listening to him do games, that sort of thing. So sometimes it's less network dependent as who they have.
Is there a pregame show that you actually are dedicated to, though?
I don't really watch pregame NFL football anymore unless what I want to hear is information that helps me gamble.
And where are you going to get that from?
Well,
not on the network ones.
Well,
Bill Cowher, he picked the Chargers. I'm in.
No, I don't need like information on not the network ones, but I don't even need information on the lines itself. I need somebody who understands what an injury or what an absence or what a dynamic that could shift a game. I need people to understand that, and they're really good people. And ESPN has some of them.
Like Fox, where they do the lead dog with Terry Bradshaw and Jimmy Johnson.
It's
worse than Pick the Stick.
You get nothing. Yeah,
fucking terrible.
Absolutely get nothing. Yeah, and NASCAR, by the way, I think blew an opportunity. I don't know what they would have done, but they were like the first back in the pandemic. Remember, we were talking like we got nothing else.
I think they tried though.
Yeah,
and I think we tried.
It just didn't work. They need to do something besides auto racing. That was the wrong move for them.
Yeah, get into football. Kurt Wisniewski up next. Number 1, the Dan Campbell Lions aren't changing and still suck. Cedar River water, 4-13. 2, MSU will win 8 games this year. They need to thank their nutritionists and conditioning peeps. 3, regardless of the rules, can't wait to be at Spartan Stadium this fall.
And I think a lot of people are like Kurt. And I'm looking forward to seeing, the crowd, the atmosphere at Spartan Stadium. And one of the more, being at games last year in empty stadiums at a press box, it just didn't feel, I don't know. I'm really looking forward, even if it's 75% crowd, even if it's 50% crowd, even if people don't show up in the same capacity they did, I'm pretty fired up for it.
Steve Beckman with these 3. Number 1, Graham would finally understand American Premier League soccer fans if he watched a big game at Ozones in Old Town, like I've been saying for the last 5 years. Plug. 2, Miggy will hit his 500th home run on the road. 3, MSU won't find their go-to wide receiver until the Rutgers game.
Which I think is like October 9th, so that's like halfway through the season. And it doesn't matter if the line is good, the quarterback's good, and they've got multiple guys catching passes, that's okay. It's if they're desperate for that to emerge, then that's an issue. Because I don't know that they're different players, Jalen Naylor and Jaden, but I don't think they're all that. I don't think the separation. There's no Charles Rogers. One of them's not that guy, and they're both, I think, really good receivers. And it may be quarterback dependent. Certain quarterbacks like other guys too. To Steve Beckman's point, like I think I was at it wasn't what was I watched a soccer game. I watched several soccer games while people were watching Premier League games or Champions League games at Ozones in Old Town, and maybe I will. Maybe my issue is I find it very difficult to believe the genuine nature of fandom when an adult chooses a team. If you're like 34 years old and you're like, I am now going to be an Everton fan, I don't know how you emotionally actually are. You can say you are. You can watch all their games. You can get into it to a degree. But to truly be a fan, to truly be crushed when they lose and thrilled when they win, I believe that has to build from either a connection, a deep connection somehow, or
Gambling.
some sort of gambling can do it, or a childhood love. But again, I'm jealous of it. I wish I could have it, and I will take you up on that, Steve. We'll do that sometime. In fact, I think I'm going to be at Ozone's this Sunday.
Holy shit! Breaking news.
With
wrong one.
to watch some Premier League game with Andrew Gauthier. However, now that I think about it, as much as I love Ozone's, I'll probably be at Midtown Brewing Company or Front 43.
This guy's good. Eric Uzniak up next, number 1. Even a bad beer tastes great after mowing the lawn. Someone left craft beer at his house, apparently. 2, if the O-line play can just be decent when MSU should be able to get 6 wins without issue. 3, sneaking in a question, what's better for perception, losing close and low-scoring games or a high-scoring shootouts?
I think high-scoring shootouts. High shootouts get you attention. High shootouts
get your defense attention.
Well,
it's terrible.
Yeah, but and I'm talking about like if Michigan State is, there would be some buzz if they've got, if they're able to put up points against good teams. Because the other problem is, I think you're more likely to pull an upset if you're capable of putting up points than you are if you're playing these low-scoring affairs and the wheels fall off against a great opponent and your offense isn't that good, then that's how you wind up with blowouts. Like I think if you're a team that can score on just about anybody, that gives you a chance to hang around with the best teams.
Spartans forever up next. Number 1, Hollywood, Florida is greater than Biloxi, Mississippi. 2, a woman in South Florida don't wear bras. 3, slot machines are ass, but when your wife enjoys, you take one for the team. See, I don't understand the couples thing at the casino. It's just, it doesn't work. Right? Like, I don't mind going with Treese, but, she only plays slot machines, and I like to play poker sometimes. So it just, you know what I mean? It just,
yeah.
It isn't
as
really,
long as you can go off and do your own things.
Right.
That's.
Unless you're pussy whipped and you got to stand around your wife the whole time.
Yeah, I wasn't going to use that exact term, but.
I just was getting to the point.
But, yeah, I would never take Elizabeth to a casino. She would hate it.
Bad luck.
She would hate it, and she would be worried about all the money I was losing, and it would just be a disaster.
And that's the worst.
Yeah.
I've taken, girls I was dating. It's like, you're betting how much on that?
You just lose $300 in 6 minutes to that same dealer in blackjack? Yes, it's a bad run. Leave me alone. It's got to win it back.
It sounds accurate. Alex James up next. Number 1, girl channels like TLC should offer an option to select male-targeted commercials. It makes me queasy to watch nothing but ads for L'Oreal Paris, Vagisil, and female diapers. Oh, man. 2, Friday the 13th. Got me this time. 3, MSU's offense improves, but defense struggles due to scheme.
So if you could have select channels, I mean, if we got to that technology, it would make sense. Because I do watch a lot of TV that they may be targeted for women, and so the commercials don't really reach me. And so
you get ads for bras.
Yeah, and so they could reach
Trying
me.
to tell you something.
Yeah, they could reach me in a better way.
But why does it make them queasy to see a Vagisil commercial? It's not like they show one being like.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Implicated. John Crager up next. Number 1, Friday the 13th sucks. Anything that could have went wrong that day for me did. 2, Kabul, Afghanistan is President Biden's Saigon. President Jimmy Carter's major foreign policy disaster. 3, Mike Valenti's show is nearly unlistenable, if that's even a word. I get that a person can have a strong stance on the vax and unvax, but he takes it way too far, and it's consuming most of the show now. Stick to sports. Yes, I realize it's a part of sports, but not that much.
I have not listened to Valenti in a long time, so I don't know.
Ever since they got that Rico Beard guy,
it's gone downhill.
Listen,
yeah, no, it's not that I have nothing against him. I just didn't grow up in the Detroit market, like the whole Detroit. I don't get those. I don't know. It's never been part of my deal. And Carter was out of office before wasn't in office yet with the fall of Saigon. I'm not that Biden hasn't screwed up the dismount here. I think that's pretty damn clear. I think Carter's big foreign policy thing was the Iran hostages, which was around the time that Jason and I were both born. Not that they were affiliated with that. I'm just saying. By the way, and by the way, and if you like, I'm now intrigued by what happened to John on Friday the 13th. So, like, if I love that take
commercial.
Give us a little more, man, because now I'm like, I want to know about,
women's diapers. Ken Chu up next, number 1. The only thing left to pull for was the perfect game. Damn. 2, storms that have downed trees leaves you to without power for days, and flooded basements are ass. And 3, man, football's close.
It's almost as accurate as football is back.
Football is back. Right.
Football is back. If you ever run out of a hot take, football is back will work. It'll get you through. It'll absolutely get you through. And storms are fun to listen to, but when they cause damage, they are absolute ass. There's no question.
Graham Stout up next, number 1. Tree surprised Jason with backstage passes at Kings of Leon's last night. Rube had a face-to-face moment with lead singer Caleb Followell, who asked him what he thought of the show. Flummoxed and high on Skymint, the Rube paused and said, "Well, I appreciate you, Caleb." That's accurate. 2, people say I never take a firm position and always leave myself with room for waffling. To them, I say I firmly believe having sexual relations with Connie Britton would be the greatest thing on earth. If, of course, Graham Stout was into casual intercourse, which he is at times. And 3, Yoda couch request coming. Tuck is. It's pretty good.
Coming, Tuck is.
What? That doesn't work.
What? It's the playoff of Tuck.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's not good. By the way, I forgot who Connie Britton was. She used to be in, or is.
She's still alive?
She's still alive. No, she's in. She's
joining Dave Berg.
No, she's in a show we just watched the other day. But she was back in the day. She was like on Spin City or whatever that show with Michael J. Fox was.
All right. Yeah. Mr. Neurotic Pants up next. Number 1, references to Hawaii Spa make me cringe. I always wonder if people work there voluntarily.
It's a fair point.
2, Tuck coming is a strange slogan. I hope at the very least that it makes the Wolverines nervous. 3, if you have a post-caffeine and Chinese food shit explosion, you don't need to tell anyone. Just clean up after yourself.
These are fantastic.
Are they?
Yeah. I will say
it's more graphic than the vegetable thing.
Yeah, the Hawaii Spa. I want to assume for our purposes that they are working there voluntarily, because that would make what we're doing a little insensitive.
How? We don't know what's happening there.
That's
it's
true.
just
That's
Hawaii
true.
Spa. Maybe people are you guys are assuming the worst when I assume the best.
There is
of people just giving massages.
There
a kink out of my shoulder.
There is quite a bit of research and data on these Asian massage parlors that it's not the life that's been chosen necessarily.
Come on, have you ever pulled a groin? Dexter Rutecki up next. Number 1, the Biden presidency is over and the world is less safe thanks to him. 2, he's completely unfit for office and too scared to face a camera today. I think he is. 3, we'd be way better off with the person Graham called the man who evokes emotions.
Yeah, the presidency's not over. It appears he's royally fucked up getting out of Afghanistan. But it's, several presidents in a row have not done the Afghanistan situation well. But yeah, no, it's ridiculous. A couple people have hinted at it, but it's freaking sad, scary, and heartbreaking what's going on over there.
Well said. Raccoon Graham up next. Number 1, people who decide not to be a morning person and decide to ruin everyone else's day, go to hell. I'm sorry. 2, if you were to have a nickname such as Sugar Weasel as your style of play on the field, what would your name be? 3, can we get a Graham and Jason bracket on ranking the best strains?
Could you do a best strain bracket as the Michael Jordan of weed?
Not really. I'm usually a sativa guy, so I don't really mess around with many different strains.
But we could get Skymint I could do an edible.
I'm willing to try.
I could do an edible bracket and go through them and best. Yeah, we could do some fun with that.
Yeah.
The question here is, if you were to have a nickname such as Sugar Weasel as your style of play on the field, what would your name be? So what would your nickname be based on your style of play?
Based on my style of play?
I mean, mine's white chocolate, but what's yours?
White chocolate? Man, I don't know. I don't have a good one. Wait, why is yours white chocolate?
I don't know.
That's not as good as Sugar Weasel.
No, it's Sugar Weasel's better.
Yeah, I don't know. Punt for it on first down would be my name. Jake Hawkins up next. Great column on MSU's offensive line woes. Excellent job on the research on all the statistics in that article. I believe the offensive line will be an improvement this year, not only with an addition of Horst, but because 4 seniors on the offensive line are on the Reese's Senior Bowl watch list.
I love that Jake actually gives the sponsor. It's not just the Senior Bowl watch list. The Reese's Senior Bowl. Yeah, well done. Should be marked.
Two, though I haven't watched many or gone to Comerica Park at all this year. I believe AJ Hinch when he says playoff atmosphere will be back at Comerica Park, thanks to them being well over 500 since the All-Star break. I will make it to a playoff baseball game in the D. 3, okay, now give me an honest, no bullshit or sugar-coated opinions. Do you guys really believe that an alliance made up of the Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12 can work, let alone exist?
Perhaps. I mean, a couple things to remember. Jim Phillips, who is the new ACC commissioner, came from Northwestern, Big Ten guy, was in a lot of Big Ten meetings. I mean, knows some of the AD, knows the inner workings of the Big Ten. The Pac-12 and Big Ten have always had a partnership. And I think there's some real reasons to work together here, mostly when it comes to TV contracts and where that bidding goes for the playoff and with these leagues, and it doesn't just become an ESPN thing. I think there's value, and whether it goes beyond non-conference scheduling, which I think would be great. I mean, if there's an alliance where every year you're playing a Big Ten team, if you're the Big Ten, every year you're playing an ACC team at home or on the road, and a Pac-12 team at home or on the road just about, or however that alliance would work, or even one of them, and you're getting great matchups, I'm all for it. But I think the bigger part of it is ways they work together to ensure that there's a bidding war for the playoff with the television networks.
Upper Deck Jerk Guy up last. Number 1, Mel Tucker has me believing, and I'm afraid to get hurt again. 2, Dan Campbell has me believing, and I'm afraid to get hurt again. 3, Cade Cunningham has me believing, and I'm afraid to get hurt again. Bonus, damn it, Graham, stout is the noun and not the adjective. Calling something a stout beer is the opposite of an endorsement. If you must use it as an adjective, say stout ale. Come on, man, get it together.
I do recommend the stout, the American Stout at Midtown Brewing Company, whatever it is, ale, beer, however I'm supposed to properly do it. At Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington. If you're going to get one beer and you like a stout ale.
And you can see Tim Stout in the back taking the bottles.
Go to Midtown Brewing Company, ask for the American Stout. Try their menu. It's just a great place, 402 South Washington Avenue. Remember, 20% off your bill on Mondays. But also thank SkyMint. Go to skymint.com for locations and specials. Use the Couch and the Rube promo code Couch and Rube 20 for 20% off. They'll look it up on the computer. They'll have it right there for you. You should be all set. Want to thank you for all your hot takes. Appreciate you. Good show, man.
I appreciate you.
Couch and the Rube.